Hey guys, welcome back to Angela. And on this topic, I wanted to talk about how empaths become narcissists. How empaths become narcissists. So I have this urge, this feeling, this fire inside of me, and I wanted to speak on it. I wanted to speak on it because after you get out of narcissist relationships and you cut all these people off, whether it's, a relationship that you're in, if it's your friends, family, you just come to a point in time where you realize that people aren't as loyal to you as you are to them. People are not as empathetic for you, your feelings, your experiences, even your relationships. So even when you're involved in a twisted, sick relationship with a narcissist, you'll see that most people don't take your relationship serious. You'll try to defend your relationship. You'll try to tell people, oh, the narcissists, they're not always mean, but when they're mean, right? You're trying to prove to people that your relationship is just as validating as their relationships. A lot of times you're involved with people who are belittling what you have with the narcissist, right? And you compare yourself sometimes. You compare yourself to others' relationships, and certain people have went through toxic experiences in their relationships. So you almost feel like you're being judged. You might see a friend or a family member who has went through toxic situations just like you, but they don't believe that what you have with the narcissist is real, right? And when you start to understand narcissism and you start to understand how people view you, you start to even see how the flying monkeys view you. You start to see the flying monkeys around the narcissist and how they view you. It's like you're having almost an outer body experience, and you have these people, even if they don't say anything, they have this look in their face. You walk into the room, the narcissist family is looking at you up and down. Their friends, their body language says a lot. And sometimes people even slip up and say certain things, right? And what this is doing, the reason the flying monkeys do this, it's because they want to feel like they're better than you. And some of these people claim to be empaths, but they're feeding off of your suffering. That's all it is. They're feeding off of your suffering. So when I bring up, topics and experiences that I've went through, and people, even on the comments, want to have their perception on who I am and my experiences, and they judge me or they leave hateful comments. Those hateful comments come from a place of being a predator. So, I don't feel any type of way. My feelings aren't hurt, but it's something that people need to understand, because people feed off of your weaknesses. See, I can speak on my experiences, and these aren't weaknesses to me. These are my strengths, because I'm over it in a way where I'm not obsessing over these things anymore, right? I'm not obsessing over the things the narcissist did to me. It's something that's always going to haunt me and hurt me, of course, but it's not something that someone can say to me to hurt my feelings and make me cry anymore. I'm not as sensitive as I used to be. So what the flying monkeys do is that they feed off of your weakness, and then they want to help destroy you, right? In their minds, they're not destroying you. Gossiping, they feel like, hey, if I'm gossiping about you, if I slander you, I'm not trying to kill you. I'm not trying to destroy you. These are just words. If you're sensitive or if you believe what I'm saying, then it must be true, right? That's how the narcissists and the flying monkeys view things because they're predators. So when I say I have this urge, this feeling inside of me after being with a narcissist, I mean, I've been desensitized to certain things, right? So once upon a time, if the narcissist would have called me names, called me the B word, called me, all type of things, I would have cried. I would have asked them and asked them, please don't say that. Don't call me that. Please don't say that. It really hurts me when you say this to me. And they would have just keep doing it. And they would keep telling me, hey, that's just how I am. That's just how I talk when I'm angry, when I'm upset, when you say the wrong things to me, right? Because in their mind, they're not doing anything to you. They're predators. In their mind, it's like, I have this urge inside of me to want to break you down because I'm a predator. I have this feeling inside of me that just, I get angry and I want to lash out. So after you experience all of this with the narcissist and they discard you or you discard them, or you just come to a point where you're knowledgeable of what happened to you, and now the narcissist finds you as a threat because they can't get into your mind anymore. They can't control you like they once did. Every time they gaslight you, they're gaslighting you. So you become angry at the narcissist. This is why a lot of times you will discard the narcissist when they're being disrespectful, and you'll tell yourself, I'm not dealing with this person anymore. And what does the narcissist do? They lay low for a little bit and then they come back and they apologize, or they tell you they don't want to fight, right? And you take them back because you still have love in your heart for them. You still have love in your heart for them. And what do? They feed off of that weakness, the fact that you let them back in, and you're wondering, you should be grateful. You should be thankful that you have ran into someone so empathetic, so nice, that I will allow you to come back, that I will forgive. I've dealt with Jezebel spirits who, once I realize, the friendship isn't equal and they're trying to establish control over me based on my weaknesses, on my experiences, on things that I share. And I realize, okay, you know what? I can't share everything about myself. I can't share certain things about myself. Even if people are telling me their problems and I'm trying to share what I went through so it can validate them and they can feel better, that they're not alone. You're thinking you're helping these people. And all they're doing is helping themselves heal themselves. And then they turn on you and you're baffled, like, what the hell? Something in me told me not to help you, but I'm a good person, so I still helped you because I know what it's like to feel confused. I know what it's like to misplace anger towards someone, right? But what do? These people that claim that they're empaths, they turn on you. They turn on you. And then they act like you didn't do anything for them, just like the narcissist does. And that's when you start to see those narcissistic traits in not just your relationships, but in family and friendships. You start to see that people use people to validate themselves while building a friendship with you and pretending as if they'll do the same for you. Sometimes they even give you gifts. They buy you things. They take you out on lunch dates and you're bonding with these people. And in their minds, it's only transactional. They only did these nice things for you because it was transactional. They felt like this is what it's going to take for you to trust me. And once I start to devalue you, or once I start to, access my control over you, you're going to give me supply freely without expecting anything from me. Because it's like they're breadcrumbing you and love bombing you, just like the narcissist. But in their mind, they're not doing anything wrong. They feel like they're being good friends. And the moment you start to see that they're trying to overpower you, they're trying to dumb you down, they're talking to you like you're stupid, they're, making it seem as if your feelings are non-existent. Sometimes they might have went through what you went through already. So when you're repeating what you went through, it's something that the demons inside of them that those narcissists left behind start coming out. And now they're preying on you just like a predator and still claiming they're empaths, right? They're preying on you like predators. They're sucking energy out of you. And then once you bring it to their awareness, they get angry. And now they're bringing up the nice things that they've done, for you. Just like the narcissist, they will suck so much energy out of you through the years and in relationships. And then, they act like, I don't owe you anything. They act like they did you a favor, or they act like, so what if they got more out of the relationship than you did? That's just how it went, and move on, right? They don't care. They're on to the next supply. In their mind, they didn't make you do anything you didn't want to do. They feel like you have free will, you have a choice. And you were ignoring the bad parts because they kept gaslighting you and breadcrumbing you. So when you have that anger brewing inside of you, that anger can be misdirected towards others because the narcissist didn't give you closure, and because it's almost like you were frozen in time and you couldn't snap out of it. So now you have all this anger inside of you, and to the point where you're praying to God to take away this anger. You're praying to God to help you forgive these people because you're having really twisted thoughts. Sometimes you want them to get karma. You want them dead for what they did. You feel like that's what they deserve. You feel like, they deserve the worst because they use me, they abuse me, they physically were abusive with me, all because they wanted to gaslight me and cheat and lie. They even got physical with me, knowing I didn't do anything to them. Damaging your things, stealing from you, making you, planting seeds in your head, sabotaging your relationships, your jobs, just sabotaging your life, tormenting you like you're in a nightmare that you can't wake up from, and now they disappear because they know, and they know that you're going to want something out of this. You're not going to want everything you went through with this person to be in vain. And they're not willing to deliver what they promised you, these broken promises and these dreams they sold you. They know they were never going to deliver these things. So they disappear. And now you're stuck with the pain, the betrayal, and all these things, right? And what happens with a lot of people, this is what I believe, because I feel the anger, I feel the, you become withdrawn from being so empathetic towards everyone. You realize, hey, you know what? Screw everyone. I have to put myself first for once in my freaking life, because all of my life, I spent it giving everyone energy, everyone, validating them, being that good friend, showing up for people. And they didn't do the same for me. They could care less what I'm going through right now. And if I say anything to people, I was there for you, they're going to feel offended because they're living their own life. and they could care less, right? So what happens with a lot of people is that they don't deal with those issues. They don't sit in the anger. Sometimes you have to sit in that anger. You have to sit in that anger to know what you're capable of as a human being, because we're all capable of many things if we're pushed to the limit. But what's more dangerous is when someone pushes you to the limit and you're not conscious. You're not conscious. Meaning that a lot of you that got out of these relationships, even if you went through domestic violence or anything, you don't realize that these type of people get you in a position where you can commit a crime, or they can commit a crime against you because of the type of abuse that they're doing to you. These people are energy vampires. So they take your energy, use it for themselves, and that's how they keep going from person to person. So when you don't deal with these issues, when you don't understand yourself, when you don't understand how you got here to this point, when you ignore that, or when you tell yourself, the narcissist got over on me, so I'm going to get over on people. The moment that you do something like that, as far as now you're so angry, you almost feel like, I deserve to be angry. I deserve to treat people like crap. I deserve to be mean for once in my life. I deserve to, do what people did to me, or I'm going to do this to people before they do it to me. The moment that you don't heal and you don't sit and think about your actions, you don't sit and think about your feelings. The problem that as empaths we have is that we are too emotional. We feel things too deeply. We feel other people's pain too deeply, and then we want to do something about it because it hurts. We know what it feels like to be hurt, so we want to fix it. And if we can't fix certain things within ourselves, we decide to focus on the narcissist and fixing things with the narcissist, and people that don't appreciate it, people that don't have the same type of feelings as us, meaning that most narcissists, they'll devalue, discard you, and then they'll talk to you again like nothing happened, because there's no emotions right there. And to them, they're being the bigger person. They're like, hey, if this was a job, you wouldn't make it because you became too emotional. You care too much about what I said or what I do. You're too into your emotions. You don't like something about someone, I don't want to do business with them. The narcissist is like, I don't care if you like me or not. I'll do business with you. I don't care if I don't like you as a person. It's business to me. My feelings aren't in it. This is why most narcissists will climb up the ladder, because they won't use their emotions. The problem is that people trust them because they can, some of them, not all of them, but a lot of them learn to control their anger. When they feel it, you can see it. They take a deep breath. You can see it. They're thinking, I'll eat you up alive, but I'm going to hold it in because I know that's what I want to do, but that's what gets me in trouble. And they hold it in while you, as an empath, you lose it, you break down in tears. And when you're expecting people to feel sorry for you, they're looking at you disgusted. They're looking at you disgusted. They're looking at you like you're throwing the tantrum because you're not getting your way. You say you're an empath, but you're trying to change someone that you're crying because they won't give you, or they won't change. There's something that you have to deal with, and people see it as a weakness because you can't see it within yourself. And then they look at it like you're trying to blame them. So narcissist people look at you like there's something wrong with you. And then they get greedy. They're like, you're too weak to make it anyway, so I'm going to get greedy on you. Who cares? If I didn't do it, someone else will. And that's where their greed takes over, and they don't care. They could care less. Even when if they have to cut off their own family, friends, their own children, they will. And you're like, but I'm your child. But, you're my parent. But you're my kid. I don't know how to deal with this. My kid is a narcissist. I don't know how to deal with this. They're stealing from me. I don't know how to deal with this. You know right from wrong. You know the right thing to do. You know that as an empath. Sometimes you're mad at certain people, because they invalidated your feelings. But then there's this part of you that's like, well, I appreciate certain things, certain tools, because it's helped me survive. So a part of me feels like I owe you something. And then a part of me is like, my emotions are telling me you're not a good person and you tried to destroy me. But what the empath does is that they use you use your emotions, right? We use our emotions. And what we want to do is we want to change the reality of things, or we want to focus on our emotions even when a part of us is telling us something else, the right thing to do or how you should handle something. But the emotional part is like, I'm going to drive over there and I'm going to give these people I'm going to tell them how I really feel about them, when they don't care. It's just a game. They're seeing you under stress. And a part of you knows, don't do that. Don't go over there. Don't tell them how you really feel, because they don't care. A part of you is telling you the truth. But our emotions as an empath takes over, and we're like, I just want to express myself. And when you're holding things in too, you feel like you're going to implode. So if you don't learn how to control the anger when you're transitioning from being around narcissists, and realize that there has to be a balance. You don't have to prove your empathy to people. You're empathetic. There's certain lines you wouldn't cross. That in certain situations, it's just best to stay silent and, stay in your own lane. That there's anger inside of you brewing, just like the narcissist. The difference is that you can control it when you're transitioning. If you're able to see what's going on. See, the narcissist doesn't want to see what's going on. They saw it and they said to themselves, okay, this is who I'm going to be to get ahead, because this is what works for me. So there's a part of us as human beings that have narcissistic traits, and we need these traits in order to survive from other predators that are way more vicious. We're prey. We're basically prey to the narcissist. And when these people put the venom in you, they make you almost like a predator yourself. But it's like it's almost like you don't feed off of humans. These spiritual vampires come, put their venom in you. You're transitioning. You start seeing the anger, you start to feel different emotions, but you feel them in a very intense way. And then you start to see that that's what the narcissist was feeling. And it almost feels like they exchange energies with you, because they left the relationship feeling good. And as the empath, you were left distressed with all these anxiety hormones, and you're just not the same person you once were. And you see a lot of the traits that the narcissist left behind, and you're almost trying to go back to who you used to be or to a new version of yourself, right? You're trying to you're trying to take out any bad habits that the narcissist left you with. You're fighting against yourself when you're transitioning as an empath. But what happens is that certain people don't know what's happening to them. Certain people don't know how to deal with their anger, and they get themselves in a deeper hole with society and different people in their circle, or, even strangers. So you redirect your anger. And when people redirect their anger and tell themselves, I have the right to be angry. It's okay for me to redirect my anger. It's okay that I slipped today and I fed off of someone. I fed off of someone today. And it made me feel good because I stood up for myself, even though a part of you started it because your vibration is low. And if you're unaware to see that your frequency is low, then you're going to keep attracting low frequency, and you're going to feel like you're not doing anything wrong because you're like, hey, it's narcissists everywhere. But then you're not seeing that your frequency is low and you're attracting this as well. So if you're not able to be aware of your frequency and that you're like a magnet to narcissists, when you leave the narcissist relationship, you're a magnet to these people. And if you're blinded into getting into a relationship with another narcissist because you think that you know the game that's being played, or you get bored, if you get bored during your transitioning period and you feed off of being around a narcissist and you know that they're a narcissist, or because they're feeding off of you, but then you're feeding off of their blood too because you're around them. If you think you can handle these people, but then you're around them, you're feeding off of their energy too, meaning that that's part of the transitioning, is that if you don't see what's happening, if you don't control your anger, if you don't see how you got yourself in this situation, if you don't take accountability, you start to become almost like the narcissist, where you're not taking accountability. You think it's okay to hurt people because you're angry yourself. You think it's okay to project that. You're not seeing that you're vibrating off of a very low frequency. You're not working on raising your frequency. You're living reckless because, you're hurt. Maybe you start drinking a lot. You start doing things you normally wouldn't do. You start changing your appearance. It's like this alter ego comes out and you're like, oh, I'm going to be bad. It's like you're in the Grease movie and you're Sandy. And in the end, you're coming out with the little leather jacket, and the leather spandex, and you got the little cigarette in your mouth and throwing it on the floor and just, putting your little boot right over it, squeezing it into the dirt, right? It's like you turn bad. So I realized that in fighting the anger, fighting the karma that you want the narcissist to receive, sometimes you feel like you're not even just waiting on the narcissist to return. You're waiting on them to return so you can know they got their karma, because you're like, the only way this person will return is if they got their karma. So a part of you is not really waiting for them to come back. You're waiting to be validated. And a part of you know it's not going to happen, and that's why you're so angry or you're so upset, But if you don't realize how you're hurting the people around you too, or how you're not willing to forgive, if you're not willing to forgive certain people around you, knowing that the narcissist has done worse things to you, then part of you transitioning into being almost a replica of the narcissist will happen. It will happen. And I say this because these are things that I notice how people transition into narcissists after they've been hurt by someone. The narcissist was hurt by someone. This is how they transitioned. And this is what they've been doing for a very long time. And that's why the behavior becomes more and more predatory. So when you become this person where now you're basically a predator, but you're not feeding off of human blood, you're not feeding off of humans, you're basically having to fight these urges or this anger, or when you're watching other people, when you're watching predators in the office prey on someone, you know why they're preying on that person, because they tested you out. And maybe before you would have felt attacked by your coworkers, you would have felt attacked because you didn't understand what was going on. Once you understand what's going on, and you know that they're attacking you they're testing you out, and now and let's just say you pass, right? Now they're not messing with you because they know you're not prey. So they go to the next person. They're like, fresh meat. It's something in them that wants to break down people who are weak. People who remind them of themselves when they were weak. They want to destroy those same people. They don't feel no empathy for those people. That's why they can tell you stories of things that they've went through and they can relate to you, but then they want to destroy you the way someone destroyed them. It's like someone raping them and now they're raping you, and you're like, that doesn't make sense. You shouldn't want to do that to me because someone did it to you. But that's the reality of it. And you'll tell these narcissists, hey, you told me people did this and that to you, and that's what you're doing to me. But they don't care. They don't care. They don't feel anything. They feel. They can talk and connect to people who are like them. That's why they treat certain people better, because they're predators like them. And sometimes they're close to someone because that person is on the same frequency as them, and they're playing the game almost like an instrument, and they're like little notes. It's like they're playing a song. They all have different notes similar to each other. They talk the same, they walk the same, they're different notes, they're different people. But they're all in tune, they're all in rhythm, they're all reading each other's minds. They're all thinking like a beehive, right? So you end up as an empath transitioning, and now you won't get preyed on like you once did, and you'll come across now predators worse than the narcissist you dealt with. That's what you need to also understand, because what people do, they get into relationships and they see narcissistic traits, they think they have it down packed, and what you don't know is that most likely you're going to run into a predator that's worse than the narcissist that you were with, because the simple fact of now that you're not that little prey anymore. Now you've became a predator, but you're not feeding off of human blood. So you're going to come into contact with lots of predators who feed on human blood and who know that you're a predator, but they know you're weak because they know you don't feed off of human blood. So what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to see if there's a little bit of empathy in you. And because you have empathy, because you know you don't want to be one of them, but you know you have to survive. So what you're going to bump into now is predators who are going to pretend to be nice, but they want you to completely transition. So what you're going to bump into is nasty predators who are going to make you feel like it's okay to be like them. They might even help you evolve, and you're going to feel like you owe them something, or you're going to look up to them in some way, and you're not going to know that there's something sinister in this person because they eat people alive, and you think that there's a little bit of empathy in them because you're like, oh, we think the same. We know about narcissism. We know about frequency. We know about energy. But what you don't know is that this monster, these type of monsters you're going to run across on this level want you to transition. So these people will come disguised as angels. They're going to control their anger more. They're going to play the game longer with you. They're not going to expose themselves as quickly. Even if they give you red flags, they're going to find ways for you to ignore those red flags. And you're going to be dealing with someone who you're going to think there's a little bit of empathy, but what they're preying on empaths who know the game. That's who it's became a challenge to them. Predators like that are challenged by people who have a strong mindset, who have wisdom, who they know still have a little, even if they pretend. If you go out there and you're doing business with all these narcissists, they know they can't eat you up alive. They like you, but they know there's that empathy that you have. They know you're trying to hide it. They can feel that. They can feel that you're not one of them completely. So you're going to run across these people, and they're going to prey on that. And a lot of people are going to get that venom in them, and they're going to transition into narcissists, and they're going to lack the empathy for people. They're going to lack empathy. So we're going into a season where people are going to smile in your face, but they're empty vessels. They're empty vessels. It's a lot of them. They're going to pretend to be empaths. They're going to come to you. They're going to tell you. They're going to apologize to you for things that they might have said or done to offend you. But they're lies. They're not telling the truth. They're using you. They're trying to flip things on you. They're trying to come into your life to disappoint you and break you down more. They're coming into your life to gain authority over you. They're coming into your life to steal from you, to take your hope away, to take your light away. You know, they already know you've been drained, and they already know that any energy that you have, you've created on your own. You've created on your own. A lot of people who got bitten by these narcissist vampires, they ended up moving on with another narcissist. You know, they didn't take accountability for their actions. They decided that it's okay to hurt others just because they've been hurt. They feel like they should be forgiven by God because they feel like, well, God should know that I'm just hurting right now. You know, that's how the narcissist feels. They feel like they're unstoppable. So if you're not aware of these things and you keep involving yourself with these type of predators, when you see the red flags and you stick around, you will slowly get that venom in you, and then it's going to be hard to take that venom out because you're feeding into you're feeding this energy vampire. You're feeding it, and you start feeding off of this energy vampire as well. Now you got some of their energy in you, you know, and energy can only be transformed. Energy doesn't die. So if someone puts you in a state of mind like narcissists do, where they bring you down, where they fog your mind, that energy can only be transformed, the energy they left you with, right? But transforming that energy into creating it to be what you want it to be is not as easy as it seems. Because in order to transform that energy, you need to have deep conversations with yourself. You have to have a goal, and you have to have dedication, you know, you have to have dedication to the point where you have to take those steps, even if it's baby steps, because that's the only way to transform the energy, how to flip it. If not, you're going to be, if you don't move, if you're not moving, if you're staying stuck in one place because of your own fear, you're not transforming the energy. You're just stuck there, drowning yourself in that energy. And that can also hurt you in the long run, because then you become bitter, angry, and now when you go out into the world, you're not this person you once were, and now you're projecting bad energy and you're getting bad energy. And if you don't see that, or you feed into that negative frequency because you don't know that it's happening because your vibration is low, then this brings you deeper into this rabbit hole, So a lot of times when you're transitioning and you're learning to control your emotions, because that's what got you to where you're at, to where this narcissist made you lose control over your emotions to the point where nothing mattered anymore. It was like, I don't care if I look crazy. The narcissist does things to me. They show up unexpectedly. They pop up at my house, my job. They leave notes in my car. They cry and beg for me to take them back. They send me flowers. So if I want to pop up, I can do the same thing too, right? You lose control over your emotions and you just start doing stuff. So in this new era, it's all about controlling your feelings and emotions. Just because your feelings are, your feelings are right, you have the right to feel how you feel. It doesn't make it right, because it's anything you say or do is a choice. It's your energy. It's what you choose to give energy to, So this is what happens with a lot of Jezebel spirits. They invite men in and out their house when they leave toxic narcissists, and then they're inviting different spirits, worse than the ones before, And now there's this venom in them where now it's like they don't care about exchanging energies with people. They're like lost souls. There's spirits in and out of that body, and you're going to get different versions of that person, and then you won't even recognize them, and then they'll turn on you and you're like, I didn't do anything to this person, or you're expecting someone that you knew not to be who they've always been with you, or people from the past that have never done anything to you. You might have people that you have good relationships with right now, but in this era that we're coming into, a lot of people, you're going to run across a lot of people who have never done anything to you, and now they will do something to you. They will do certain things to you. And there's even with certain narcissists, them, playing this role and sticking to it because they don't have to get emotionally attached to anyone. There's going to come, a time where they're going to wake up. Some of them are going to wake up, and they're not going to get the energy or supply or the respect that they think they deserve. They're going to they're going to go overboard not to show red flags, right? They're going to play the role only to get played. Because sometimes people take good things for granted. But in the narcissist case, it's just one word: karma. Karma, that is all. You know, it's karma. You went overboard for someone so they wouldn't see the red flags. And they fed off of you. They fed off of you. They were, you created them to be a predator. They might have looked like a prey at first, but now they've became the predator. They're feeding off of you because the narcissist is trying to prove themselves. There's no balance. So that's what the empath has, it's balance. But you have to be conscious enough to know that not everyone has that balance once they transition. A lot of people will transition into narcissists. So what happens is that the empath can also become paranoid and can also become desensitized to certain people and believe that certain people might be narcissists because you can't feel their pain and you might think maybe they're faking it, but maybe you became desensitized as well. Because I've came across, people who went through really crazy things with narcissists, and then, when someone close to them is going through something, they're kind of like, I went through more than you, type of mentality, or I wouldn't let something like that affect me. Sometimes even kids are affected by things that you wouldn't be affected by. And this can, alter your relationship with your parents, or your children, because they might feel like you're the narcissist and they're not being heard. So one thing you have to realize when a narcissist feeds off of you and you're transitioning is that certain things aren't going to feel the same anymore. And because of that, you cannot judge people. Never judge people, because you just might not be right. You might not be right. Always give, always have an open mind, and know that sometimes, when you're transitioning, you're more focused on yourself, and you've been studying yourself for so long that you might stay in that bubble of being in your own little world, because you had to spend time fighting with yourself, fighting with your emotions, until you told yourself, hey, I have to put my emotions to the side or my emotions are going to destroy me, And when people see weakness, they want to destroy it. So you have to protect your emotions. You have to protect your energy. You have to protect your empathy, regardless of people's perception of you. Let them think whatever they want to think. You're not going out here intentionally hurting anyone. You're not feeding off of other people. That's what you can do. That's what the narcissist does to get ahead, but that's not, you're okay with where you're at because you just want to be at peace. That's all you want, is to be at peace. But in order to be at peace, you cannot show these people any type of weakness, even if you want to relate to them, because they will turn on you and they will feed off of you, especially if they're transitioning. They haven't chose what side they're going to be in. They haven't chose up yet. And a lot of them, they're going to feed into the narcissist. They're going to feed into becoming like them and being oblivious about becoming like them. They're going to lie about it. No, I'm not. I'm still an empath. They're going to lie. That's why you have to be careful in these times that we're living in. So I hope that, you guys enjoyed this topic. I'm sending you guys lots of love, light, peace in your healing. If you guys want to book a session with me, my booking information will be on the description. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe if you guys are new, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.